What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brain vs. the Universe.
Hey. We out here.
Where three friends come here to challenge each other on ideas and imagination as well. Everybody remember that the universe is stranger than we can imagine. I'm just going to cut that pass. I'm not going to waste my time with that.
The universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it is stranger than we can imagine.
Yeah. But as you can see, you have myself, Victor. We have Cole to the left of me. Got my boy Todd to the right of me.
Hey, that's me, man.
And of course, if you want to go ahead and support Brain vs. the Universe, go ahead and like and subscribe to Outside In Theaters. As you can find us here, this is where we're going to be one of our main platforms. As well as if you like some of our topics, what we go over tonight, go ahead and let us know how we're doing in the chat. Give us some of your insight. Give us some of your thoughts. We'll be here to read them through, all right?
Big fact.
All right, so how's everybody feeling today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How you feeling?
I'm pretty good. I had a really good week.
Had a really good week?
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
I'm feeling all fresh and frugal and
yeah,
man.
Another year of my life.
I was going to tell you, you seem, happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Victor's birthday was a few days ago.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah.
We'll go do something tomorrow. Sorry, man, I'm not good on birthdays, though. I don't even halfway.
I haven't been here, bro.
I don't even halfway remember my mama's birthday. I
forgot mine, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So, we'll do something. But happy birthday.
Thanks,
happy birthday, man.
And you seem to be in really good spirits this week.
It's been real good.
I'd say things are just, we on a winning streak over here is how I'll put it.
Providence.
Things is going up, man.
Providence.
There's synchronicities. There's things happening in the ether.
We're running away from some Jungian shadows, man.
Yeah.
We planted some seeds. Them shit's just now starting to sprout.
Starting to get out here.
We got some sprout action.
Mm-hmm.
And the harvest is coming.
Oh, man. We got some things
It's not a game.
y'all going to be looking out for.
We're not playing. All right.
Well, shoot, man. All right, so let's go ahead and drop on into our first BVU of the day. Ty, go ahead and start us off.
Okay. My brain says that after a divorce, if someone did not put in 50% of the effort towards earning the money, that person should not walk away with 50% of the money. No. You wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
Oh.
All right, so let's hear. Okay, that is your criterion.
The universe is saying.
Yeah.
My brain is saying that no, you shouldn't just get 50% of a person's wealth and assets because you were married to them and happened to be there.
Yeah, right.
The universe is clearly telling me that that's totally fine and that's the way it should be. I am, of course, talking about the Dr. Dre Divorce that just happened. And his estranged wife will be paid $300,000 a month for, well, we'll just say forever. The clause is essentially that unless she remarries or enters into another relationship. So,
that's unfair.
So essentially, Dr. Dre has to not just pay the woman's bills, but I believe the number is $3.5 million a year he will have to pay out to this woman.
That's the estimate now.
Because they were married.
Okay.
And
well,
no.
And so the fuck what?
What was she doing before the marriage?
She was a lawyer.
Okay.
She was a lawyer. Okay.
And how many years were they married?
20
years.
20 something. They got married in 96, so almost 25 years they were married.
Where was this I'm pretty fresh to this subject. So what state is this taking place in?
California.
Yep.
Okay. All these are important.
Yes.
You know, this happens in Ohio. It's Blood Buzz, Ohio.
Right.
Good luck.
Yeah. And also, California's divorce laws are some of the most ridiculous that the great nation of America has to offer.
Yep.
Some of the worst.
Yep.
What? No. You should not get 300,000, even if you want to make the argument that, well, you know, she was there before the $1 billion. She wasn't there before the $1 million, but she was there before the $1 billion. The majority of their wealth that was amassed during the marriage. But again, my question is, and how I was raised to think, what my grandmother told me growing up is there's no such thing as something for nothing. So is being married to somebody, does that count as something in y'all's minds? Again, in regards to, well, if we split, we go our separate ways,
Right.
I have to pay for your lifestyle until you get with another man?
This is basically
Which is essentially what the deal is. You
Yeah.
have to pay $300,000 a month until I get with another guy.
and it's supposedly temporary spousal support.
And I
That's
am
what they're calling it.
definitely, if I'm her,
Yeah. Never.
shit.
Why would I ever get remarried?
I have me some hot pool boy from around Los Angeles that I scoop up in my Bentley that I drive, funded by my ex-husband, and yeah, have him walk around with the shirt off for my eye candy and, you know, occasional sex whenever I feel like it. But I'm never going in public with anybody else. You know why? Because then I'll lose out on a whopping $300,000 a month.
Yep.
So
Damn,
to even make that statement at the end is like you just put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
That's it.
Oh, until she meets somebody else. That's it. That's as long as you'll have to. Why should I give a fuck about? Why should I care about her getting into another relationship? Why is that in place?
Okay, well, I'll
Try to
just
play devil's advocate for me, because
Okay.
I'll just rant about this fucking.
I'll tell you what
these dirt bags is what I think they are.
I'll tell you what I'm hearing, and I'll play devil's advocate. What I'm hearing, and don't let me put words in your mouth. This isn't going to be one of my so you said moments here. That in other words, a marriage, at least in the state of California, and other places, but let's just stick to this. All right, a good example of this would be even Hollywood's sort of flirting with this. Watch Marriage Story on Netflix. It's specifically about the marriage laws in California, children, and, you know, some of the outcomes that are already fixed, baked into the system. And you could talk about prenups and all this other stuff, but in reality, you know, unless things are written and judges are there to sign it, doesn't make a shit what you tell your wife, you know, in the corridor at a hotel in Malibu. That really doesn't matter.
We're going to talk about the prenup here in a second. Keep
Right.
going.
So what I hear you saying is, in other words, that marriage is a mousetrap to some degree, that it's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. And the concept of marriage is not based on that principle, right? That's the thing I think that gets left out here. Is like if I ask a girl to marry me, I'm asking her to come take a risk with me. I get that. And there's obviously a compensation package. And if she makes more money than me, then that's what it is, vice versa. We live in the modern world. You have to accept that as a reality. However, this idea that there is some sort of morally binding principle that the state can then it can then just permeate through culture like it's just some self-evident fact.
Right. Yeah.
What is this, the Roman Catholic Church in the medieval period of history? I mean, this is what they would do to this is what you do to people that are sinners. Okay? They have to go through a purgatory of sorts in society. And in the case of marriage, to some degree that jumps right into the equity pocketbooks a little too deep. To the point where Terrell Owens had a similar situation.
Yeah.
He wasn't even playing football anymore, and I think it was like $50,000 a month for each kid, and he had 6 kids.
Well, dude, you can go down. I mean, there's a very long list of especially successful black men who got taken for everything in divorce court. Well, white men as well. But, yeah.
Let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah, go ahead.
The definition of equality that you're using in equity is a moot point. Who cares? They're both people.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Right.
I think that's your best argument. It's just to completely disregard. I'm serious. Don't argue for it. If your argument is, hey, look, this is my idea of marriage. If I want to get with a man, he kind of knows where I'm coming with it. Like, if we leave, he knows I got his ass. So if he's going to play stupid when the divorce happens, and I'm sorry, there are some celebrities that do this.
Right.
And before we really jump into the details here, I want to point out I've seen some very embarrassing divorces by powerful people and by famous people, by cool people, whatever people we don't know. And you don't know what kind of baggage and dirt someone that knows you for 20 years might have. So that's devil's advocate. Devil's advocate says, we don't know all the details.
Yeah. So let's say I concede that Dr. Dre's a piece of shit, which I do not concede, but let's say he is. Let's say he cheated on her.
Let's say that's her story.
Let's say he cheated on her. Let's say he was emotionally abusive. Okay, fine. They split 50% of the wealth. Okay, fine. Then still explain to me the $300,000 a month going forward. It doesn't make any, no. And if somebody cheated on me and abused me, I don't want your money. That is spite, is what that is. I'm going to get you on the hook, not just for what I think I might be owed from us having been together, but for the rest of my life. I'm going to be a thorn in your fucking side, because that's ultimately what this is for Dr. Dre. $300,000 a month ain't a whole lot of money for Dr. Dre. It's a ton of money that I'm sure he wishes he doesn't have to pay. But Dr. Dre became one of hip-hop's first billionaires with that Beats by Dre deal. So Dr. Dre is going to be just fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But the state is incentivizing this behavior.
Right.
And you're causing, younger men, our generation, who have eyes on becoming seven-figure earners who are all collectively, I can't tell you the amount of comments, the amount of videos, the Instagram posts, the tweets from guys going,
nope.
No. I'm not going to get married ever, especially if I'm making $50,000 a year, I'll get married. If I'm making $250, nope. No, you're not even going to get close.
Man, you just got to go overseas, brother. I'm telling you, man, I really do think this is an American problem.
I think it's a Western problem. I think it's a problem with Western culture. I think America, Britain, Canada, we have
the torch, though.
Yeah,
I mean, we do.
I think so. Yeah,
push the throttle here. Bill Gates is an American.
Yeah, we are in I think we're going to a very dark place in regards to marriage, because a lot of people don't consider the very practical function that marriage serves. It's because when you're a single person and you make, average income for males in America, I believe, is $53,000 or $50,000 something. Average income for women in America is in the 40s. So let's say it's 50 and 45, just hypothetically. Well, you get married, now you've got a whopping $95,000 going into one household. Retirement at 65, not being homeless one day. Right? Marriage solves for a lot of those very practical issues that you'll face as you get older. And so it's not a good idea to de-incentivize marriage. And that's what's happening. It's a very bad idea. Families ultimately are the backbone of our culture and our nation, in my view. And when the families stop happening, you end up in a very dark place. People can try to minimize families. People can try to minimize fatherhood, which I see a lot. This is another idea I just reject. You're wrong, right? Fatherhood is important.
Dad jokes.
It is.
Dads are idiots in movies. Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it makes good TikTok videos.
Makes for good TikTok videos, but I'm telling y'all right now, there's an undercurrent happening right now.
Oh, for sure.
Of
half the country's men. That's definitely happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Of men who are getting very fed up And I'm going to tell y'all one thing that y'all need to watch out for. It's my prediction. It's my hot take. Is black men are going to be the ones at the front of this debate here.
I try to tell them.
Tell them. Keep telling them.
I try to tell them, man.
They can't shut the black men up.
No.
Y'all don't have your normal tactics you can use against white guys. Oh, you're a white guy. Shut up. What you going to tell me? Nothing. Your white guilt won't even let you disagree with me.
The best thing that any of these guys can do with Kevin Samuels at the moment is not bring him on the show. I mean, I hope they do, but I know what's going to happen. There's such a dismissive aspect to anything that doesn't conform to your utopia, to where you just assume they must be less enlightened.
Right.
They must be slightly duller.
Yeah.
They must have blue-collar jobs and average parents, and therefore must have average genes. And guess what? Who gives a fuck about them?
And are therefore.
And this isn't just men either. This is a lot of men and women that are together that just don't give a fuck about fucking each other over. I mean, those laws in California, go look up the history on how those were wrote. Very intense public, divorces and domestic issues. Like, one thing they got right in the state of California, let's say you and your wife get in a bad fight, a verbal fight. It happens. In the state of California, you can go get in a hotel and go in a room, and they don't have a right to you. There's some states that allow, I don't want to call it a religious doctrine to take place, but they do allow, oh, that's my husband. Forget the fact that something horrible is about to happen here. I'm gonna give you a key to the room.
Just to go.
That's the stupidest fucking thing you can do. And trust me, I do have experience with this. Stupidest fucking thing you can do. But that's the problem. So these are people that think that divorce I guess this is my devil's advocate, Ty.
Okay.
Are we opening conceptual space for people who don't believe in divorce?
Are we opening conceptual space for people who don't believe in divorce?
I'll give you a good example. I'm a Catholic. If you get divorced as a Catholic,
It's a sin.
you're not allowed to take the Eucharist anymore. Eat the blood and bread of Jesus. Now, a lot of people still do it, and there's a lot of liberal churches out there, and that's the norm. But there's certain places. You go to Latin America, you go to Argentina, you go to Spain, you go to parts of Cape Town in South Africa. Oh no, that tradition, and there's parts of the United States that do this too. But that's a hot button issue, and there's 1 billion Catholics in the world, and that's a big debate. What happens after you get a divorce? The traditional view is your value. You're almost like you're lower than a widow. You're someone that swung at the mystery of life and love and marriage and happiness and the great myth of the modern romance. And I say myth in a positive sense. I mean that in like a spiritual sense. That when that fails, that even if you reconstruct another one, at best you're just now having a business decision.
Right.
In marriage, we've gotten to such a point, I would say, in Western culture, to go back to what you're saying, where I would say we're just at the structural stage now.
Right.
And no one that has a reasonable opinion about this has a slight, they haven't come forward.
Yeah, on the conceptual space question, I would just say that's not the point I am arguing.
Right.
That divorce is good or bad or indifferent, or of course there are some instances in where divorce is the best thing that could happen. That's what you need to do. Okay, fine.
Right.
Sometimes staying together is the best thing to do. Okay, fine. But another statistic on divorce I find interesting, and why, again, I reject this whole marriage is about, feeling butterflies in my stomach and frolicking through fields of flowers and all the puppies.
When I say spiritual, I mean the dark shit too.
Right, all this goofy shit, right? So the divorce rate is just under 50%. It's like 49. When the average household income goes above 120,000, meaning when both parties are bringing in a combined 120 or more, the divorce rate drops down to 20%. It drops a whopping 30%. That's a huge difference. So again, y'all cannot look me in the face and tell me that there is not there are not very practical considerations to make around marriage, and that people, they can say whatever they want to on Instagram, or they can make whatever post about loving them and all that goofy shit. I'm fine with all the goo-goo gaga shit, by all means. But there is a very real practical element to marriage that needs to be considered, and I think it will be wise for anybody going into it to view it that way as well. Of course, you want to love your partner and all that, but there's some very reasonable things you need to think about, things that are reasonable to consider, and we're losing that. I don't know how we got to such a dark place in regards to marriage, but I absolutely think it is not having a good impact on us as a nation. And I think our generation is going to be one of the first where, let me put it like this. About 4 years ago, we moved to Los Angeles. About 2 years ago, I started seeing homeless women. I'd never seen a homeless woman before, ever. It's not really a thing. Because women get help. Men usually don't, right? But now I'm starting to see homeless women, and I think I'm going to see more and more and more. I think we're going to, again, marriage serves a very real function for the average person. It's another thing I don't like is that everybody thinks that they are so special, they're going to get a different outcome than everybody else around them.
Right.
And does it usually happen that way? Of course not, because you're a regular person.
Okay. I guess just to reiterate, and those are great points, by the way. Well said. I guess I'm talking about changing the word here, because I don't know what people mean by marriage. I really don't. I gave you the most basic, long-lasting version of it in the West a minute ago. And I think if I asked, well, both participants in this particular divorce, they might have different ideas about it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm at the point where I'm just saying, fuck marriage in the sense that if you have to like everyone does this. In the modern world, we put labels on things if we do anything. But for some reason, the marriage thing hasn't evolved at all. Yeah. If anything, we've allowed it to become almost like some mantra where we've said the word so many times that the philosophy of marriage you just laid out that has two sides to it. I don't think people look at it that way.
Right. Yeah.
I know they don't, because I know married couples that almost look at it like, I don't know, man. It's and it's also, you got to look at it city to city.
Right.
Polygamy in Los Angeles is much higher than it is in Cleveland.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so, I'm going to guess, was this in Los Angeles as well?
Yes.
Okay. All this matters to a degree. Yes.
Right. But let's do this. Let's get away from marriage and divorce. I think my real problem with this story in particular is the alimony.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Being forced by the state after a divorce to give this person money.
Yeah.
Forever. That's crazy. Why? Again, even if I concede to you on they should split everything because she was married to him when he made all the money, which I don't really concede that either, but all right, fine, I'll give you the 50%, but why the alimony? Now, I may be wrong about this. I was just looking to try to find out kind of when these and where these alimony laws came from, when they were established. I would imagine at a certain point in American history, a divorce had some different repercussions for women in particular. Because now you don't have a husband, now you're on your own financially, which again, there's a practical thing to consider there. Now you have one less income coming into your household. You're by yourself. So at one point, I could see alimony making some sense, right? So this woman doesn't end up on the street after a divorce. But even in that instance, I'm supposed to support her for how long? 6 months? A year? We just had this discussion about that Instagram girl, Blue Jasmine, and the internet exploded because this girl looked people in the face and was like, no, yeah, he's supposed to take care of me for at least 6 months.
That's
after
that's a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And, right. And this isn't a woman who was married to the guy she's talking about.
No.
They dated for a few months, and he got her a Benz and a loft,
Yeah.
and she expected him
To take care
to
of her.
continue to pay for it
Mhm.
because we dated. So so you supposed to, but that's what the alimony thing has run amok at this point. And if we have equality, then you need to be on your goddamn own like I am. End of story. If we're the same, you need to deal with the same shit. So you're on your own after we split. Period. Even if I give you 50% of my shit. Shit. $300,000 a month. A month to do what? To do what?
Real estate, man.
Shit. And she was
Oh, man.
so last point on this. A prenup.
Mm-hmm. Say anything, Dave?
There
Anything to be had?
was a prenup.
Okay.
One of the main points of contention in the dispute is Dre's claim that the prenup they signed is still enforceable. Nicole Young's team claims the rapper-producer ripped the document up, thus invalidating it. In the meantime, legal wrangling has continued on the topics of attorney's fees and spousal support. So that's another thing, is he had to pay for her lawyer, which is another, like, all these big high-dollar celebrity divorces
Bring in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
asshole lawyer,
have to,
the
for the other
sociopath.
person,
Bring him
pay
in.
the
Bring him in.
fees.
I got to pay for my lawyer and your lawyer?
Yep.
I got to pay for you to fight me?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What?
Now let's give the devil his due a little bit.
Mm.
The lawyers don't get enough criticism, guys.
That's
The
another thing.
lawyers make a living.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like a cheap car salesman,
Right.
but they're always selling cars.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
make a lot of money, and they drive around in nice cars, and they're fucking dickheads. Most of them. If you're a marriage lawyer, I don't trust you. I'm just going to tell you. And if anyone's listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Why your job, especially if you're one in Hollywood,
Oh,
your
yeah.
fucking job
Is
is even if you want to play divorce is nice. This happens just as often. It just doesn't get reported because it's almost too tragic. Two decent people who mean well for each other hire asshole lawyers, and the lawyers go, I have to make money in this.
One way or another.
right. And
You don't
once
get to
that-
just
right.
Nope.
give him the money
Nope.
or just give it to her on the side. I am representing you, you fucking moron. And this is how they talk to actors, by the way, because that's how they see them.
Right.
This is how they see them. Johnny Depp's being told he's a fucking idiot on a daily basis, so he doesn't say anything.
I'll be honest.
Meanwhile,
I'd tell him he was a fucking idiot.
it might be true. It might be
Yeah.
true. But,
But,
you see
yeah.
my point.
Point
Yeah.
stands,
You get pulled in the middle of this. And yes, there's bad moral actors on all sides, probably. But I am saying the lawyer thing is designed to be confrontational.
Yeah,
It's designed to be inhumane.
Right.
It's designed to be like an inquisition.
It's in their best financial and professional interest to make this as ugly as possible.
Yes.
It is.
Right.
If their name gets out there, I'm Dr. Dre's wife's lawyer, and I got her $300,000 a month. I get up whatever client I feel
Oh.
like after this. According to a memorandum attached to a request for a hearing to test the validity and enforceability of the prenup filed in August 2020 by Nicole Young's attorney, Dre's estimated net worth of $1 billion was largely earned and amassed during the parties' approximate 24-year marriage. It notes that before they got married, Dre demanded that Nicole sign a prenup using undue pressure, leaving her no choice but to do so. It says she reluctantly signed it before their May 25th, 1996 wedding. 2 or 3 years after their marriage, it claims Dre tore up the agreements in Nicole's presence while acknowledging that he knew his wife had signed them as a result of duress, coercion, and undue influence. Andre also destroyed the agreements as a grand gesture of his love for Nicole and his desire to have a marriage free of any financial restrictions governing their respective rights and responsibilities, according to the memo. Sure. Sure, that's what happened.
Right.
Yeah, he sure.
As a grand gesture.
Sure.
Tore them
Dr.
up.
Dre has been known to do some has been known to do some what's the right word? Wild shit in spur of the moment wild shit. It's Dr. Dre, for God's sake. But that he tore up the prenup and said, "Don't worry about it, honey."
We're in a loving relationship.
Maybe he
'Cause
thought
I
it was the
love you so
divorce,
much?
Yeah.
divorce papers.
Shit.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, he's like, no, we had a prenup. Yeah, right.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He backed. Okay, yeah, sure. That's the story. Yeah. Okay. That was enough for them to throw the prenup out.
It always
Wow.
is enough.
So even like you got a prenup. You got the prenup. Even the prenup is, oh well, I was stressed out when I signed it. Duress.
Yes.
I'm
No,
under
it's not
duress
involved.
right now.
Yep.
If I'm under duress and I make a decision, does that mean if I'm under duress and I shoot somebody, I don't get to go, I was under duress.
Yeah, I'll speak
You don't.
speak closer to home, and this is represents, you know, alcoholism runs in my family, and for a guy that's drunk, like, you're just a no good piece of shit by society standards, and this idea that having a few glasses of wine and you sit together and you develop your game plan, because that's what we're talking about. Given things go wrong, what do we do for the best interest of everyone involved?
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? And if you're, you know, if someone can question your sanity, or question your addiction problems, say you're passive aggressive, say you're undiagnosed bipolar, they don't even need decent evidence. They just need a failed piss test with alcohol in it.
Yeah.
And now, whatever game plan you had, you're incompetent.
Right.
You are the useless piece of shit society told you are. And now I'm going to use that story. I'm going to give it to a lawyer. And now the world, it's like the scene in The Crucible. I've given you my name. You know, I've given you my soul. Leave me my name. Don't fucking nail it to the church. That's what you're doing. Putting out all that dirty laundry. Have a fucking divorce. Be adults. Get the goddamn lawyers out the room, and let's get this out the way.
Yeah.
Don't we have kids involved? Isn't other people being hurt by this?
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
we give a fuck about our reputations? Don't we give a shit about humanity? I mean, just especially if you're really famous, because you're a microcosm of culture. You know, it's got us worked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And they have two children. One is 23, one is 19.
Okay. So.
Thank God for Dr. Dre. They're both over 18.
Yeah,
He'd
because
be
it would have
paying
been way more.
$500,000 a month.
Mhm.
So she
Still.
can feed them Cheerios and Fruit Loops and shit.
yeah.
$300,000 a month. Y'all got me mixed up. No.
We also got to do better with. I had the news on today, trying to watch the Olympics, and for Christ's sake, man, like this is like, I don't want to sound jaded when I hear stories like this, but the negativity being spread around. I mean, whether it's about marriage, right? And I don't mean the narratives around it. I mean the actual events, the facts that happen. It's very unfortunate. And all these roads that used to be familiar, marriage being one of them, a solid job being another one, retirement being another one, 401k being another one, benefits being another one. These are very, unfortunately, complex situations to talk about in this information age we're in. I don't think anyone knows, like Jacques Vallée, who helped invent the internet, said, no one knows what the internet is. We don't know. And anyone that writes books and says they know, and they tell you that, you know, they cross-blend it with ethics and the historical past of human beings, we're in uncharted territory. So negative media, it's been proven scientifically to be more jarring.
Yeah.
You're going to pay more attention to the tiger than you are to the buffalo. Because the tiger, that's a wild animal.
Right.
And it's more entertaining. But human beings aren't supposed to be the fucking Discovery Channel. You know? And that's what I mean when I talk about the lawyers. There's a lot of enablers out there. And they're very cynical people. You know? And some of them even, you know, take very high offices in public affairs. It's incredible. Like, I wish I was exaggerating when I say that it's kind of bleak across the board when it comes to, you know, powerful men and powerful women. It's like they're just running into each other. You can't look at the previous generation. The world's richest man, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. Yeah, no one really wants to be that super dad. They don't. No one wants to be Donald Trump. Even Donald Trump supporters don't want to be Donald Trump because that comes with great costs.
Right. Yeah.
Your soul and your soul of legacy into eternity. And with the internet, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And if we don't start turning this fucking train around, you know, it might be better off, like Kevin Samuels talking about getting a website. Get off, unplug, and because I don't know. The people that are like, I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg any further than I can throw him. But I guarantee you at the offices of Facebook, they love that articles about divorce get shared because people read them.
Right.
They don't read, you know,
the ones about the happy marriage.
happy marriage, or, you know, maybe aliens have visited us. I mean, you know, there's a million and one things that might be different, but it takes time to indoctrinate a culture to feel positive again.
Right.
So I don't know, but we're going the opposite direction, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one. It takes time to indoctrinate a culture toward positivity again. Yeah.
Yeah, the gospel, it's a lot of martyrs first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right.
All right.
Moving on.
Cole, what you got for your BVU, man?
Oh, man, look, man, if you go see some of our early videos, we were reacting to the trailer for Dune, Frank Herbert's brilliant, it's my favorite sci-fi novel of all time. It's great. The spice, man. Spice must flow.
My favorite director.
Yes.
The God.
Hans Zimmer.
The God of scores.
Yes.
This is just synchronicities off the chain. And it's people from all different walks of life around the earth coming together to make this Dune movie. It's beautiful. It's everything Hollywood should want, right? Is Paul Atreides a white guy? Yes, he is. It was written in the 1950s. What do you want? And they've made some casting changes already. All right, so that's the first thing. But that's not even my concern. All right, the guy that I'm about to defend is a black YouTuber. Quinn's Ideas. One of the best channels on YouTube for sci-fi and just fiction in general. He's just passionate about the subject. But he has one of the largest audiences of Dune fans. He helps push the product. Well, Warner Brothers, so if you get on YouTube and you put in Marvel, you're going to find a 1,000,001, if you go on Spotify and put Marvel Talks or Marvel Debates, there's 1,000,001 channels like that. In Disney, at this point in time, they let it run its course. They let those content creators create free revenue or free advertising for us. But we leave them alone for the most part, unless they leak things they're not supposed to. Warner Brothers has the opposite approach. Warner Brothers is so greedy that even a YouTuber who has like 1 quintillion amount of the capital that they do, who's also helping probably bring more people to the movie theaters than their stickers on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
I actually know that to be a fact. Some of the data is starting to come through on this. And it's just a bunch of old, ornery motherfuckers that must run shit in Warner Brothers.
That's absolutely
and it amazes me in this culture of like canceling everybody. What about, I mean, is the only I don't know, overlord of Hollywood that can be canceled is Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah.
Is the only immorality just doing sexually inappropriate? I mean, we should know that doing sexually harassing women is obviously fucked up. Yeah. I'll tell you what else is fucked up. Stealing people's money. Yeah. Causing people to suffer when you have a lot to eat.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, shout out to him. Quinn's Ideas.
Yeah.
Great commentary.
Great YouTube channel.
They're taking the monetization money. It's going to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
You know how crazy that is?
He gets no sense.
Right.
He gets none, and he gets a flag. He's got 2. And YouTube would permanently delete his account if it happened
If
again.
he gets a 3.
Because Warner Brothers,
Dang.
goes back to the lawyers. The shit always comes full circles. They got very a YouTuber can't go to war with Warner Brothers and survive.
Right. Yeah.
They'll get a settlement. Something will happen that takes him out of the equation. So all he has to do, he can still make the videos. They can still trend, but he's working damn near as I mean, it's like internet slavery to some degree.
Yeah.
You go do what you want to do for free.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else you would call it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes the only thing that would make sense to explain it is greed. I'm trying to think of another
old
another
business
reason.
sense, I think, too. Though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
cynical about certain channels sometimes because not everything's made is an equal slice. There's a million and one opinions, and you have to make up your own.
Yeah.
The internet doesn't help you with that. It makes it actually harder sometimes. But again, to go into those dens, right, to people's personal, just idle curiosity. That's what YouTube is. It's idle curiosity. And idle curiosity makes money. But the moment it goes from curiosity to, okay, let's roll in the advertising trucks, and we're going to double down on this process that fucked up the world. There's a reason everyone flooded to the internet. It's not because it's completely convenient. It's escapism. And the corporate world is so bleak and boring. I get why people prefer this new vibe that happens online. This is what we're doing right now. This is too expensive. 20 years ago, this is $10,000 of equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's possible to make a benefit because technology's gotten better and more of it's made. And more people are interested, more people are buying, so the prices are going down. This is not what companies like Warner Brothers wants to see happen.
Yeah.
And I think there's a way to save traditional cinema without committing intellectual suicide at the same time. And they did this for Justice League. This is the main reason, I think, more so than the bad films, that the DC universe, whatever they call it. Sorry, I'm just. Is it EU? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, DCEU.
Okay,
is what
it doesn't really exist because it never got off the ground.
Not at all.
Because they did the opposite of what Disney's doing at the moment.
Yeah.
They were so focused on slapping whatever IP
we could put out there.
that polls well. Right. Make that one.
Yep.
Do
Run
we have
with
an idea for the movie? No. Well, fucking figure it out.
And some of the examples that Warner Brothers did, things like a Play-Doh that looks something like a sandworm. That's just something some dude made in his room and squeezed it out like a worm. Oh, sandworm. It's our property. Dune is a fucking novel, bro.
Yeah.
It's one of the most famous novels of the 20th century.
Yeah.
That's like if ABC, I think or USA got Brave New World. Finally watched that series. It was awful. They completely fucked up. Anyway, I don't want to go there. But long story short, it'd be like if you got a ping from USA Network or whatever. Every time you talked about the novel Brave New World, or mentioned the words Huxley and his ideas, and I mean that's crazy to me.
Not only do I think Warner Brothers is shooting themselves in the foot with this long term, but also YouTube too.
Yeah,
they're letting it happen.
Right, they have to be held responsible to a significant degree as well, because they're letting it happen. And they've been letting this kind of stuff happen. This is not new.
No.
YouTube regularly
put strikes out.
I would say just outright fucks people.
Yeah.
They do. They do it on a semi-regular basis. And then, again, you have to get a lawyer to talk to Google to try to get your YouTube channel back. The second platform that comes along that can do a social video platform app and website, I think they're going to shoot past YouTube. It's going to take a long time. YouTube has such a foothold in this space right now, but eventually people are going to get sick of YouTube shit because they've been pulling this kind of stuff for quite a while. Yeah. It's only just recently, I think, that people have started to. Yeah, it's gotten
a lot worse.
And people have gotten, I think, more emboldened about
coming out and talking about it and making sure that people understand that. Because, I mean, they just did that to Double Toasted. They had to go back and change a lot of their reviews because they ended up having they started getting strikes. Yeah. And it was like off of old videos. Like,
and Double Toasted just does movie reviews for anybody who hasn't heard of Double Toasted.
Did they review Space Jam and something like that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to pull
that's Warner Brothers too, right?
Yeah. They had to. Warner Brothers took a lot of their shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should be so lucky that somebody was willing to review a 2-hour-long LeBron James led
Corey did the animation for some of the original Space Jam.
That's the thing.
That was one of his first jobs. So he actually has a connection to the product.
Mm-hmm. And they were already.
But he didn't work on
I didn't know that, actually.
I didn't know it until I seen like a video they did that was trending, because he basically, he never, we've been following those guys for years.
Mhm.
I've never seen them do that like to make an argument.
Right.
Yeah.
But he clearly cared about this subject.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was going to rip the movie until he was shit on, and then you know,
And then
Well,
I haven't seen it, so
One day we'll do the BVU double toasted crossover. 'Cause
Yeah.
Cole and I actually went to visit
Y'all
there
got to see 'em.
and got on for a live stream with those guys way back before we even thought about doing such a thing in Austin. And that was one of the ways me and you originally connected. And
we
got to be
talked about
friends. I don't know if
podcasting
you-
on there. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, we were talking Spill. They were spill.com or
yes.
whatever.
I was
way
back in like fucking middle school, bro.
Right. Right. I was like, you watch those guys with the cartoons and the movie reviews? You was like, yeah, man. And we was friends after that.
And I found it by one of those viruses you get on a pop-up.
Yeah.
I went, movies? All right.
Yeah.
These guys are animated. I never knew what they look like.
Yeah,
I even
right.
questioned, like, are these just a bunch of dudes in a basement somewhere? But no, they were they had careers. Some of them were like journalists. Others were comic animators.
Yeah.
Right.
I think one of the guys that started their podcast wrote Sinister, the movie. He wrote the screenplay
I didn't know
for it.
that
Yeah.
either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Double Toasted.
Yes.
One day we'll get up with
Yeah.
Corey and them, man.
For sure.
But-
But yeah, you're starting to see that a lot with YouTube now. People are really come to the point of just being frustrated and finally just putting it out there that this is the reason why you may not see videos from us, because we're getting these strikes. It's the reason why we're having to pull back on having to do reviews or put any content out, because the second they put it out is being
Right.
taken down.
Your
Our shadow ban.
again.
Our
You are incentivizing the wrong behaviors here.
Mhm.
You're making it nearly impossible for people to put out, content on this big topic.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not going to be good for the platform long term.
And I mean,
Might be good for their pocketbooks right now, but long term, again, people are already getting fed up with YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
Yeah, it's just YouTube is Google and Google is God
Yeah.
in tech.
At this point, yeah.
I don't know what you're going to do.
Listen, God's it takes a long time, but
They decompose.
Die too.
Yes,
They
yes.
die too. Google will not be what it is one day.
Yeah. There's going to be
happens.
somebody to take
Every
it out.
empire falls.
Yeah.
Yes, unless they do what they claim they're going to do. They're going to be a government contractor. They
Artificial.
they're going to be part of the military industrial complex in the future. They lead the team for DeepMind. They own that.
Mm.
It's the most valuable artificial intelligence program on the planet. It's the most advanced. It's not close. Maybe China has something that's a competitor, but we're not going to see it. We don't have access to it.
Might be not until Bill Gates is passed, and a long time after he's passed.
Right.
I'll see a similar thing with Apple with after Steve Jobs.
But you see what I'm
left, it just
saying?
hasn't been the same.
Like Boeing, Hughes Aircraft,
yeah.
Skunk Works. These are almost $1 trillion industries.
Yeah.
They make airplanes.
Right.
But they convince the government, we make you weapons, and we don't have to make it for civilians anymore. And we could write the paychecks up as high as we want. I think Trump bought a new Air Force One for $250 million. This is one plane.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible, man.
250 million.
You know how much the money that they spend on that stuff, the
Mhm.
Department of Defense? It's like $2 trillion a year. That's more than tax money coming out of the United States. That's just money they're writing.
Mm-hmm.
So if Google gets linked up with those guys, it's going to be,
Damn.
it's going to be like taking down Mount Olympus, okay?
Yeah.
It can be done, but it won't.
It's gone.
It's like they're going to just completely be taken off the hook of moral responsibility for all these. So it's like, I know we're on YouTube,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying
Some-
it's time
some-
to start thinking about alternatives for some people. Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think probably the best path forward is grow on YouTube. This has the most visibility,
Right.
and then take your viewers with
Elsewhere.
you
Yeah.
elsewhere, because these motherfuckers,
You can't.
wherever you decide. Now, but that's the thing again, is like there has to be the Pepsi to Coke.
Yeah.
I feel like
The
YouTube
alternative
doesn't
to
have
be able
its
to.
it doesn't have
I
its
agree.
Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a monopoly on this market currently, because Instagram is something different
Right.
Yeah.
with video content,
It
as is Twitter. YouTube's the only platform like it where you can go. I watched the hour and a half long basketball game from 1992, the Dream Team. It was just on YouTube. I watched the whole thing.
Mm. Wow.
92
Just get it
basketball.
from anywhere, man.
Anything you can think of to find, it's on YouTube.
Yeah. I guess YouTube, Google will be fine is all I'm saying, because it helps intelligence. At literally CIA research, you can make predictive calculations on society and how people vote and how this is literally how the elections were fucked up. This is literally how they did it. No, and I know nothing's ever happened. Nothing will ever happen. The stakes are too high to do anything. You know? I mean, if God forbid if we ever found out something as awful as like COVID might have had some unintended consequences that aren't as simple as someone just, I don't know, making a mistake and virus happens.
Yeah.
But that would be intelligence that'd be very valuable, and I would assume both the Chinese government and the American government would not even want to raise that question. And that's where Google's useful. And they think we're too stupid and too scared and sheepish to have conversations like that. And that's what I worry about. Burbank is where Lockheed Martin Skunk Works is at. It's here in California. It's in Los Angeles. That is the most powerful. That's Stark Industries is what that is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. These guys have shit at Area 51 that is 50 years ahead of where we're at right now.
Strap.
They got stealth bombers that they drop the nuke. You don't even hear it until it explodes, because it's going so fast, it's breaking the sound barrier at such a degree that you don't know. And it's visible. It's invisible to the radar too. You wouldn't pick it up. You could drop a nuke over the ocean. They've done this. Is how they test this stuff, and they claim they still don't. They don't do any tests anymore. I don't believe that. But anyway, yeah, that is anything that can be used as some sort of intelligence device or tactic or operative mission. Neuralink's going to have a lot of these values in the future too, and that's going to be the future of where this type of shit goes.
Sign me up.
And you said it a while back. You know, virtual reality is it's going to look different than we thought it was going to look, but it's still an augmented reality. Maybe not quite virtual, but something. And we're already like that. You're talking about watching just binging YouTube for hours. We didn't evolve to do that.
Right.
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, you know, it's not magic. Right.
Yeah. Whoever comes up with the augmented reality video platform of some sort.
Right.
Maybe that it might take a shift in technology to such a degree that YouTube becomes obsolete. Maybe Google wouldn't be, but YouTube itself. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Again, nothing lasts forever, but there are certainly companies in this country that were here before we were born, before our grandparents were born.
Right.
And that are still here and will be here probably when our grandchildren are here.
For sure.
But our great-grandchildren, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Great?
Well, Elon's talking about watching movies in the future, and, you know, you can stimulate those parts of the mind.
Can you imagine?
Where you can taste the garlic, you can feel the erection, your head's rushing.
Right.
You know, it activates those areas.
Smell.
Because it's all neurological responses.
Can you imagine how great and how incredible the storytelling would be if you could smell what the scene
True 4D,
like,
right?
Right.
It's
like,
internalized.
Feel it, touch it, taste. Oh, man.
Could you imagine going inside a cathedral and just some overwhelming music, eat an edible, turn it on?
I would just want to watch a bunch of historical events. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
I just want to see, I don't know, lots of them.
I want to be talking about those jets. I want to be like on the front of one, having all those G-forces going through my body.
Oh God, I don't know.
But I'm not gonna die because it's like I'm just sitting in my, you know, if you
gonna I was about to say you gonna feel like you dying. All right,
everybody. As well, thank you to Frank. Got a quick thing from Frank.
Shout out to Frank.
He said,
my man.
He said, who played in the 1972 movie Godfather? That's right. It was Cousin Larry. At the movies. Oh, man. Love Frank, man.
Shout out to Frank.
For sure.
Support Frank over here, man.
As well as for some current events. Of course, we are all still waiting for Kanye West to decide to drop his album.
They did a listening party.
Yes, in Atlanta.
At Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 40,000 people showed up for this listening party.
Yeah.
And I think they listened to it.
They listened to the entire album.
I hope so.
Supposedly is what they've said. He also was awarded some proclamation from the Morehouse College. And then he also got a day acknowledged in Atlanta. July 22nd is now Kanye West Day in Atlanta. Yeah, this all happened. Still no album, though.
Man, so he didn't release the album.
Yeah.
But Morehouse, come on, man.
I know.
Like,
I know.
Morehouse is where I wanted to go. Morehouse is where Dr. Martin Luther King went.
Yes.
The God.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King went to Morehouse. I stepped on Morehouse campus. I was like, yeah, this is right, man. I'm supposed
You felt
to be
that
here.
energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spelman was right there, and that's where Coretta went. Was the Spelman. I was like, damn
I gotta give me a girl from Spelman.
Man.
Couldn't afford it, man.
I know.
Couldn't afford it. I probably could have got a scholarship, but I had a full scholarship where I was at, so I stuck around.
Dude,
Oh,
I seen another Martin Luther King quote the other day. Blew my mind. They asked him, "What do you think about Christianity dying in the West eventually?" Because you were starting to see the age of the Industrial Revolution at the time.
Yeah.
He says, "My God knows his way out the cave. We'll be all right." That's
Man.
Man,
Oh.
I wish I could give
Write
that
that
like
down.
I wish
Keep that.
I wish I could give that
Oh,
like a
man.
I don't know, man. That's crazy. A God, man.
if I could have just got him, Martin Luther King and C.S. Lewis in a room together, just hung out.
Right.
Oh,
I'll smoke a
So
pipe with
much.
Lewis, and I'll
Right.
have a glass of wine with Martin Luther King. Oh
so
my
much
God,
greatness comes.
That's a
out.
fact.
Oh man.
That's a fact.
we could just talk about religion.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Ooh.
Different, man.
I would
That'd
go
be
straight
bad.
back and listen to the Dr. King I Have a Dream speech.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, for that.
Want to end us out with that?
Wait. Oh God, it's not working.
Oh no.
No.
Would have been such a good time.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, technology is not infallible.
Technical
No.
difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to give Dr. Martin Luther King an air horn and it's not letting me. Damn it. Hold on.
The glory, 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 glory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, got him a Don DeMarco?
Give Martin Luther King a Don DeMarco.
We gotta add that to the soundboard.
Ain't nobody
man.
ever gave Martin Luther King a Don DeMarco, but if anybody deserves one, Dr. King.
Yes.
Don DeMarco.
For sure, for sure. Also, they had undoubtedly women's soccer player Megan Rapinoe. She's the U.S. She's a part of the U.S. team this year. I think she's been on it a couple times. She's the one usually in like different commercials with different color hair. I don't know if you've ever seen any. Nope. All right, not hitting anywhere. Just gonna let that slide on through.
I know her
Okay.
famous speech in New York City. I know that one.
Yeah. Well, undoubtedly, she's decided to come out and say that she uses CBD. Her sister has a company that she's a part of. She uses CBD during the U.S. And so people went kind of crazy for the whole Sha'Carri Richardson thing that happened, and now they're trying to put like a whole spin on it of like, oh, well, why is she allowed, and then Sha'Carri
CBD and THC are different. Right?
different.
No,
Yes,
no, Cole. You're applying logic
that's the thing.
to these people.
But
Okay,
that's
I told you from the beginning, this whole Sha'Carri Richardson thing has been stupid from Jump Street.
Yes.
From the beginning, off top. It's been oh, why don't they just change the weed rules? At the Olympics,
in Tokyo.
at the Olympics, it's not in this country.
No.
You understand this. There's international laws in
That-
place that need to be fuck are you talking? Oh, why don't they just change the rules so she can race? Because
This is
but
Yeah.
weed is but the weed it doesn't hurt anyone.
I almost wanted to like
Shut
go in a time. You pull a moment in time of Jesse Owens crossing the finish line and Hitler going, "Oh my God!"
yeah,
Right. That would put all this into context.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
another
That
one.
would
I'd
be
go
great.
back and watch that.
Yeah.
I would go back. I wouldn't even watch Jesse run. I'd probably just be looking at Hitler.
you want to get Hitler's feelings?
Oh, bro, of course, yeah, yeah.
He's
It's,
crossing it.
it's very possible.
I'd have binoculars, just be watching that motherfucker.
It's very possible that history is never a pure science. It's very possible that one of Hitler's biggest ideas was busted that day.
No. Certainly that's what happened. Superior race my ass. Yeah, okay. All right, you came in sixth too. You
Yeah.
can't even. God damn.
But the Olympics is something else. It's again, issues are too high strung. National security is not good right now.
No.
It's
Not at
not
all.
good in the Middle East right now. It's not good. Our relations with Russia and China are awful.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing the U.S. government would want to do,
Yes.
and I don't care how woke the president is,
Mhm.
generals will pull you to the side
Right.
and go, absolutely not.
We're not
That's the
doing
kind of
that.
stuff
Yeah.
at stake with the
Yeah.
Olympics.
Right,
Guys.
absolutely.
What are you talking about?
Not trying to piss people off.
No, but it's just a little weird.
There's been shootings at Olympics that almost caused wars.
Yes.
They've made movies about this,
Yeah.
guys. And that's why, it just doesn't work the same way.
Yeah, sorry. And
Yeah.
again, CBD is
And of course, we agree. It's a
Non-psychoactive.
silly. Yes,
Yes.
two things can be true.
right.
I think you would probably argue it's a silly
Rule
THC,
that people should be allowed to smoke weed on their own time. Absolutely.
Right.
If you show up to a race high, I
That's
could
an
understand that.
Yeah.
But just like when you go home, if you want to have a beer as an NFL player, you can.
Yeah.
If you showed up to the game drunk. That would be a problem.
Yes.
I don't see why we can't apply the same logic.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You want to smoke a blunt at the crib?
I'm about to burn
Good.
one in a minute, man.
You and me both, cuz.
All right, everybody. So, of course, thank you all for being here, everybody, as well as thank everybody in the chat. Of course, if you want to support Brain vs. the Universe, go ahead and like and subscribe here to Outside in Theater. We want to make sure that we are definitely showing support, as well as you can always find them on social media at Outside NTHTR. As well as you can find us at Brain vs. the Universe on Twitter as well as Instagram.
It's a fact.
All right,
folks.
everybody.
All right, guys.